Hi everyone, and welcome to the Aquarius Weekly Tarot Bite reading for the week of June, 19th through the 25th. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for soul illumination. So hi everyone and welcome. My name is Lauren. For anyone who is new, hello. For anyone who is returning, thank you so much for your continued viewing of my readings. I really appreciate it. So this reading is meant to be a mini reading. It's about 10 minutes or so, and we are going to be looking at the general energy for the week ahead based on a theme that came up in the collective reading for the week, which was posted on Sunday. Now, the theme that came up specifically was one of receptivity, opening ourselves up to the love and support coming from others that is directly around us, that maybe we've been kind of holding ourselves off from receiving. And then really taking a look this week at a burden we have long felt the responsibility to carry ourselves, and where now we can possibly put that burden down so that we can start kind of with a fresh slate in pursuing those hopes and dreams that might not have felt possible as we carried that burden. Now, that burden could be emotional, it could be physical, or it could be mental. So this is really going to be left up to you to be able to take a look at that as to where it's kind of creeping into your experience. But we are pulling a card here first to really kind of take a look for you, Aquarius, at where possibly the energy around this burden and what we need to know more about it. So we have Victory, number 28. And I love this card. The 28, the number reduces to the number 10 in numerology, further reducing to the number 1. So there's something around the energy of endings and beginnings, and yet you're being offered this laurel wreath of victory, that you've completed a cycle. And it's almost like the world is saying, or the universe of the divine is saying, congratulations, you got through that. You've come out now in the present moment, much stronger, much more capable. And I get the feeling here that this next cycle is going to be one that is going to be much easier than the past cycle for you, Aquarius. Sometimes it can be difficult to kind of don that laurel wreath, to say, you know what, to look at how far you've come to this moment and to really honor yourself. I'm getting kind of a Four of Wands feeling here, of really being able to stop and appreciate how far you've come and be able to celebrate it, not just internally, but be able to speak on that with others, to say, we can all get to that place where we always want, or we could think that we want more, or we could be, aiming towards other goals in our life. But there's always this point where we have to kind of say, you know what, I have achieved quite a bit. I have achieved, even if they're little goals and, they're on the way to the big goal. But there's something here where it's really, I get kind of that Four of Wands feeling, this may be actually pertaining to the home and the family, something along those lines, because that's also something that the Four of Wands can speak to. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull some clarifiers, and we're going to see, kind of expand on the story here that's coming in for you. But it can be hard for us to give ourselves that pat on the back, to put on that crown and to say, you know what? Look at me. I've done pretty well for myself, or I've come out of whatever I've just gone through so much stronger, so much more in awareness of who I am. And just as I say so much stronger, here comes the Strength card. So yes, you are a much stronger individual. And yes, it did take strength for you to come through that last cycle. But now opening up for you is a new cycle based around the Hierophant and the Star. The Hierophant can actually represent marriage, because it does represent institutions that we choose to follow and believe in. One of those institutions is the institution of marriage. So for some of you, this could be actually a fated or destined marriage with the Star coming in. This can also be, though, where perhaps you might be looking with the Hierophant. This is the high priest. This is the individual who sets the structures of what we believe and what we choose, again, to follow and believe in. And there's something here around, maybe there's a chance with this new opening cycle for you guys to expand on what you believe you are capable of. With the Star, this is a great guiding hope dream for yourself. It is what you are led by, that feeling within that, I wish I could achieve this. I would love if this would happen for myself. It is that, it's kind of that dream within our heart, right? And with the Hierophant, for some of you, that might be a loving, supportive relationship. It could literally be that you want to get married to someone, and that this is something that you've had to go through a whole cycle of, great courage to get to that point, but yet this can lead to a wonderful union. This can also be, though, where maybe there is this dream now that's emerging, where you see how far you've come, you've seen how much you can overcome, and now there's this point where it's almost like breaking that bubble of, I never even thought I could do that. I ascribed, or I prescribed to a certain set of beliefs, whether they were put on you societally, culturally, even familially. It can be like where your family says, no one is ever going to make millions of dollars. And suddenly you're like, well, you know what? My dream is to push the boundary in that. I've seen how far I can go in my career life, and I'm going to just believe in myself and kind of push against what is to obtain what I know I'm capable of. There's something here around that, what you're capable of, or what you can bring in for yourself, be this destined supportive relationship, or be this something within yourself that maybe, again, in the past version of who you were, you didn't think was capable, and suddenly now there's this glimmer of how victorious you are and how you can carry that forward into the next cycle here. So for you guys, since this reading is kind of hitting a little short, I'm going to pull a couple clarifiers for the Hierophant. I want to see what's getting, what is around your beliefs. Now, the Hierophant is also the High Priest. This does harness the energy of Taurus as well. So there may be something around that you have a strong Taurus placement, or a Taurus that's in your life that might be guiding you. But there could also just be this feeling of wanting to maybe embrace the High Priest energy. Embrace being, this could be where you become a teacher, a mentor, an advisor, something in the realm of that as well. And maybe now you're realizing, wow, look how far I've come. I can actually, in this next cycle, instead of being the student, I get to be the teacher. So let's see here. Let's see what's going on with the Hierophant for Aquarius. Yeah, I'm hearing like you're graduating. Now, it doesn't mean, wow, you can't beat that. Here's the Hierophant clarifying the Hierophant. So this says deep down, you have the wisdom. For those of you who have been kind of, maybe back and forth one side or the other about either committing to something where you do become the teacher in this next iteration of yourself, in this next life cycle. This is saying, yes, especially if this is a great dream of yours, there is something here where you have that ability to do so. If this is something where you have long wondered if you should commit to something, commit to a partnership, commit to, again, something that, commit to a belief, maybe you want to, believe in some new system, something along those lines, because Aquarius, you are a sign that you're a really innovative sign. So you can really kind of tap into kind of something that no one has ever seen or touched before in the physical. And so maybe for some of you, there is something around this, like setting up a new belief system around something that only you can see or understand, and bringing that down into the physical. Let's see what else. But when we're thinking about a burden, the one thing that can kind of get in our way sometimes when we go from, like, let's say graduating, like literally graduating as a student, to then going out, with some type of knowledge, it can be intimidating to go out and say, yes, I know this so well that I can teach it. I can have the confidence to speak from this place. There may be a burden of just limiting self, like a limiting self perspective, where maybe, again, it was the beliefs of, your family. It was the beliefs of your society. You kind of prescribed to something and said, well, or you ascribed to something and said, well, this is just how it's going to be. And now there's suddenly this kind of breaking forward energy. Let's see if anything else wants to come out with that Hierophant. And Judgment. Woo, two major hidden cards here. So Hierophant and Judgment. Yeah, Judgment is the new you. A version of yourself is gone. So this could be the student version of yourself. I want to say student. It doesn't mean you have to be in school. This could be that we go through periods, I feel like, in our life where we become the student again, meaning that we have to learn something new in our life. I mean, when we think about all the different stages we go through, being a child to then kind of graduating to be on our own. Maybe we do become a student at that point. And then we go out into the work world and we might graduate to become a parent from being a single person, a person who wasn't a parent. We might graduate into a new relationship, a marriage, something along those lines. You might graduate then into retirement and realize that then something else has to change. And that's really what Judgment speaks to, that we are now in a place where we can't go back to being the old version of ourselves because we haven't been integrally changed, either internally by an internal awareness or by something external to us that has changed us. So there's something here around that yes, there has been something that has changed you. You can't go back to who you were. And that somehow this is tied directly to a dream, a great wish, a hope for yourself, maybe even possibly following a new direction. That might take some strength to kind of admit that to yourself that, okay, I'm strong enough. I'm graduating from one aspect of my experience. Maybe I was kind of learning and kind of stumbling through the process. And now I'm going out much more aware, much more with this. Because the other thing about the Hierophant is he has incredible sight. He can see beyond what is to help start to set in place the structures for the new. That's why he can become the advisor. That's why this card represents those societal structures, religious structures, anything that we choose to follow and abide by. And so for some of you, there may be a whole new rule system, a whole new playbook. And that was a theme coming out for quite some time for you guys. A few months ago, so we might be kind of getting back into that. So let's see about the star. Let's see what wants to come out to the star, and then we'll wrap it up because now we're running a little long. What does Aquarius need to know about this? Okay, here we go. The star, clarifying the star, but with the devil behind it. So I think for many of you this week, this is really where that freedom point can come forward, is looking to see where you've held yourself back. The devil is how we hold ourselves back, whether this is through self-doubt, whether this is through chaining ourselves to another individual, because it does actually have a similar image to the Lovers card in the tarot or in the major arcana, but now the lovers are chained together or chained towards something that is holding them back. So for some of you, this could be where maybe you've been in a long-term relationship, something has changed in that relationship, changed the dynamic, and now you're realizing where you are being held back in that relationship. And maybe it's something where you get to free yourself now together in the next cycle. This can also be too where you just realize where you've been holding yourself back from a dream because of fear. It can be fear of change, fear of going against. This could be like, I want to go out and do something that goes against my religious practices, or I want to go out and do something that is kind of so out of left field, talking on a subject that most people find strange or pushing the boundaries. And yet it's a great dream of yours. But the burden you've carried is that you've held yourself back from this because of something. Because either you're just holding yourself back through fear, holding yourself back because you don't want to break the rules, holding yourself back to another individual who doesn't want to embrace the change that you've gone through and the change that's maybe affecting your relationship or partnership, or just where you haven't felt confident to follow a dream. But I feel like that's where the burden is for you, Aquarius. Where have you kind of held yourself back from really following your own belief system here, and a belief system that is now in alignment with the new you after the new set of circumstances have come into play? And again, this next cycle is, victorious. You can have your dream, but it's time to put down the burden of whatever's been holding you back. All right, I will leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderfully liberating week ahead, Aquarius. I wish you all the best. If you'd like to book your own personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, if you'd like to view your full June tarot scope for your sign, they are up on my channel, and July's will be released towards the end of this month. All right, bye everyone. I'll see you next week for your next Tarot Bite reading.